Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. I'm always feeling excited when I have an 8-bit computer from the past in mint condition and in its box, original packaging. And I found this ORIC Atmos recently. The ORIC Atmos is a well-known machine from the 80s, quite popular, but not that much. Mostly a big hit in France, as far as I can remember. And there was this never enough good games for it and software written, and comparing this to the ZX Spectrum, for example, or Commodore 64, but still it was a very nice, well-built computer, following its predecessor, the ORIC 1, which actually is the same machine. We can come back to this a bit later. Let me open the box and check what is inside. The ORIC Atmos has a better keyboard than the ORIC 1. I think I have somewhere around the lab the ORIC 1, so we can compare them side by side and see if this guy works. They told me it's in working condition, and I can see that it is in pretty good shape. The box, I mean, for starters, and then we can check its operation in a little while. So bear with me, I'll be back in a few. So here we have it, box open, and an incredibly good looking ORIC Atmos machine. I can tell it's intact. Very nice, very nice, excellent mint condition. Let me put it over there. You can see that it's manual here. It's a manual with programs and sample basic programs. You can type and start working with it. The cable for the recorder, I guess, or it's must be RF, or no, I think there was, yeah, composite out. That's the monitor, composite out. Excellent to have this handy, and the tons of welcome tape. This is nice to have. I never ran this before, never saw what and how they have introduced their machine, so it's a good chance for me to load it someday and check the welcome programs. RF, no, the power supply, original ORIC power supply, and the RF cable here. So excellent condition, excellent packaging, like no day has passed since 1984. 48K ORIC badge, and everything looks good. So of course I'm going to try this, and I will try to locate the ORIC 1 so we can compare them, because actually what it is underneath the keyboard, inside the case, the PCB and the main board is the same like the ORIC 1. We'll go into some details let me just try to locate where my ORIC 1 is, and I'll be back so we can see this in operation and say a few things more about the ORIC experiment, the ORIC company, and all that. One of the best things that can happen is to have the system from the past in its box, original packaging, and to be in working condition at the same time. So our machine here is connected to the RF, and it has a pretty good picture for RF. It was my mistake before. I was thinking it was a composite out, but that was just wishful thinking from my side. It's a simple 36 channel RF output, and it's pretty crispy and clear, if I may say that, on the TV. So we have 37K free for the user. The rest is used by the extended basic version 1.1 1993 by Tangerine computers. So this is our guy. One of the things I have checked is that it comes with its original power supply, UK made, and it's 9 volts, around 1.5 amps. And what I have as a surprise here is the ORIC 1. I managed to find the other, the predecessor of the ORIC Atmos, and it's here, and we're going to go first through the specifications of the ORIC Atmos and some words about its story. And then we can compare those machines. This one came just 1 year, if I'm not mistaken, earlier out in the markets, the ORIC 1. And it was a big hit in Central Europe, in France mostly. And then its chiclet keyboard was not something for ORIC to be very proud of, and then they came out with this ORIC Atmos keyboard, which is pretty decent, and pretty much that's what it was, because the RAM is the same, the ULA is the same, the main board is the same, and all that. So a few words about Tangerine computers. So ORIC is actually Tangerine computers in the UK, and they have begun with this model, the ORIC 1, which was a direct competitor to the ZX Spectrum back then. ORIC 1 came out in 1983, ORIC Atmos just a few months later in 1984. There is no big difference to the hardware except for the version of the ROM, which actually ORIC's 1 ROM had some bugs, few bugs, plus the well-known and popular, let's call it popular, error, tape loading error, which was still there when Atmos came out in the markets, but for the rest of the bugs, ORIC took care of them, and from version 1 ROM we eventually moved to 1.1 that was out in the markets with Atmos. You can see version 1 1983 was the year that actually ORIC 1 came out. This guy here came out in 1984. The first time I actually saw the ORIC 1 machine was in an advertisement in a Greek magazine from 1983, and it was offered to the people. This is an impressive black and white ad from Greece back then, for just 32,000 drachmas it was. And what it says here, it says 48K RAM, 16K ROM, 16 colors, 28 by 40 characters on the screen, high resolution graphics. That was 240 by 200. That was high resolution. Standard Microsoft Basic. Well, I wouldn't comment on that, or I wouldn't translate, but it says professional keyboard. That's a laugh. Centronics interface, sound synthesizer, 3 channels, and soon to receive and place your order for communication modem, printers, and some other floppy drive peripherals and stuff. And that was the big ad here. Down here it says the cheapest 48K you can get, and that was a direct hit to the ZX Spectrum, of course. So that was my very first glance or time that I have seen ORIC on the paper, in a magazine, and then I got my hands on my ZX Spectrum and forgot about it. But then, as time goes by and I'm trying to collect things, I got my first ORIC here, my ORIC 1, and it was far later than the 80s. I didn't have the time to play with that because there was always lack of software. And then I got my hands on this ORIC you have seen today, and I'm very happy because it came in its box with all the stuff in there: cables, demo tape, manual, and its original power supply. So the greatest thing is that it is in working condition.
ORIC 1 and ORIC Atmos were never a flop, a big flop. In the beginning, ORIC people managed and decided to invest in advertisements like this one in magazines, and actually the very first couple of years they did pretty well.
Both of these computers are based around the 6502 MOS technology processor at 1 MHz and share very same architecture.
The motherboard. Well, the motherboard of it's the same in both systems. It's a beauty. Only the necessary wirings and no fancy stuff. Everything in order. All the discrete components. We can see now. I have opened my ORIC 1 at this point. Weird thing and an eccentric thing they did. The ORIC engineers did. They wanted to go with a 7905 voltage regulator instead of the 7805, which is still the standard, I believe, for 5 volts. And instead they have used 7905, which actually outputs minus 5 volts for whatever reason. This is the ULA chip, the equivalent to the arithmetic logical unit of the one we call the ULA for the Spectrum. TV modulator, RGB output, cassette, input output, all neat connectors at the back. Underneath the voltage regulator there are a couple of chips. Oh yes, and the polarity is reversed, so it's center positive for ORIC. Um, Underneath the voltage regulator we can see the CPU down there, and in the middle the basic chips, and again here is the ULA, which is kind of rare nowadays, the ULA chip. It's already hot. Weird thing to go with the 7905.
The first year that ORIC 1 came out in the UK sold about 160,000 units, which was very impressive. And then success moved to the other side in France, and it was about 50,000 ORIC sold there in the first year of launch, which is 1983. Quite impressive. The Atmos had the same success in France, and apparently there were many of those systems found on eBay and in other platforms to be sold with French instructions manual, owner's manual as well. So it was a big hit in France. The first time that ORIC 1 came out, there was this option to have the machine with 16K, which was something, again, in order to compete 16K ZX Spectrum or 48K of RAM. And so quite the same configuration like the ZX Spectrum, so you could take your pick. Actually, the Microsoft Basic on top of the ROM, the available ROM, was 16K, if I remember this right. So what is left for the user is what we see here, 37 something available kilobytes. Like I said, the only thing that has been changed, apart from the keyboard, which is excellent, and the aesthetics part, they wanted to be eye-catching in a marketing way. I think this is a beautiful machine, black and red combination. Apart from the keyboard and the ROM, which was now 1.1 version, nothing else has been changed in terms of the hardware. So it's the same motherboard, the same RAM, ROM, ULA, power circuitry, and RAM and ROM segments of the PCB, pretty much the same on both machines.
Now, one tip on the ULA, it can be found around Europe mostly as a new old stock, and this is the type of the chip. You can still order some ULAs. I have 3 of them, and I swapped each and every one of them just to test it, and everything looks good. So you can keep some in your spares if you have an ORIC machine. Alright, time to wrap it up, I guess, for today. So what's the verdict? Are the ORICs good machines? Well, yes, after all, I can say that they are pretty good machines. They did well in the beginning, but after a couple of years, in 1985, ORIC has been acquired by French company Eureka, They went over the development of the Telestrat or the ORIC Stratus model, and then they ceased operation in 1987. That was all for ORIC company. I will see you around soon, I guess, with another demo, repair, fix, or presentation. Until then, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.